A very warm welcome to you. We appreciate you for tuning in. This is Galaxy TV News, our top stories. Federal Executive Council approves the reduction of examination fees for entry into Nigerian secondary and tertiary institutions. Meanwhile, the Senate has mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to investigate within 48 hours the ongoing political impasse at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. Living outside Nigeria, Russia's Putin accuses Ukraine leader of orchestrating naval provocation to boost ratings. And in sports, head coach of the Super Falcons of Nigeria, Thomas Dennerby, targets successful AFCON title defense against South Africa. Many thanks for joining us. I am Rita Omodia. Begin this bulletin with the President, Muhammadu Buhari, who in his capacity as chairman of the Summit of Heads of State and Government of the Lake Chad Basin Commission, LCBC, has convened a consultation of heads of state and government of the LCBC scheduled to take place in N'Djamena, Chad on November 29, 2018. The one-day meeting will review the security situation in the areas affected by Boko Haram insurgency and adopt measures to enhance the capacity of the multinational joint task force to meet the challenges of securing the areas. According to a statement from the Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Femi Adesina, the multinational joint task force and the national operations of the affected countries have appreciably degraded the capacity of Boko Haram terrorists, although the insurgents still retain the capacity to attack isolated targets in desperate search for supplies. Now, in the meantime, the Federal Executive Council has approved the reduction of examination fees for entry into Nigerian secondary and tertiary institutions. The decision formed part of decisions taken at Wednesday's council meeting, presided over by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo. Minister of Education, Adamu Adamu, told State House correspondents after the meeting that the new fees, which would take effect from January next year, includes 3,000 naira for the Universal Tertiary and Matriculation Examination, 9,800 naira only for the West African School Certificate Examination, and 4,000 naira for the Junior Secondary School Certificate Examination. At the meeting, the ministers and federal political appointees presented their memos for consideration. Among such was a request by the Ministry of Education for reduced charges on the various categories of examination, which the Minister of Education said was to alleviate the sufferings of parents.
Since the new administration went into office and then a change in management with prudence by the current management of JAMB, we are able to see that most of what is being charged actually doesn't have to be, because a lot of it is being siphoned by corrupt officials.
11 ecological intervention projects across several states of the Federation were also approved at the sum of 9.6 billion naira and 267 million naira for the construction of 3 incinerators for environmental friendly destruction of substandard drugs by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC.
These 11 ecological intervention projects are spread out this way. 1. Jetty and shoreline protection facilities in Lagos. 2. Flood and erosion control in Oyo Town, in Oyo State. 3. Erosion control of flooded areas / road improvement in Owo, Ondo State. 4. Erosion control of flooded areas in Akankwa local government area of Cross River State.
Council also approved the production of ECOWAS biometric identity cards to replace the region's existing travel certificate in response to the decision taken by the regional body in 2012. The contractor finance project, which would run for 10 years, is estimated to cost 14.7 billion naira, according to the Minister of Interior, General Abdurrahman Dambazo.
This is in response to the decision of ECOWAS heads of states and governments, sometimes in 2014, to replace the current ECOWAS travel certificate, which was meant to start in January 2016.
For the Ministry of Works, Power and Housing, the sum of 813.4 million naira was also approved for the rehabilitation of broken-down bridges in the northeast during the heat of the Boko Haram insurgency, and another 3.4 billion to furnish federal secretariats in Anambra, Zamfara and Bayelsa states. Moving on, the Senate Committee on Foreign and Local Debt is set to investigate Kogi State Governor over application for loans to the tune of 180 billion naira without due process. Galaxy's Godfrey Shemege reports that his decision was reached after deliberations on the point of order raised by Kogi West Senator Dina Malaye during plenary Wednesday. In the point of order, Malaye says the loan, which has a 15-year repayment plan, is increasing the debt profile of the state, which owes salaries of civil servants running into several months. Supporting the motion, fellow Kogi Senator Ataya Doko urged the Senate to take a drastic step to stop the Kogi State Governor, Yaya Bello, from accessing the loan. Ruling on the matter, the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, mandated the Committee on Local and Foreign Debt to investigate the allegation and report back within 48 hours.
The Senate is disturbed that the loan to refinance consolidated debts, Kogi State should be borrowing what is owing locally, which is about 40 billion, and not borrowing 180 billion.
It's also unacceptable as senators of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to allow this kind of situation to continue, for people to have their way in taking arbitrary decisions on behalf of the people. Mr. President, this is a state that has received so much money in bailout funds and in Paris Club allocations to the state.
No, I believe that because it's a very simple one is to establish that such a transaction is happening. And let's have confidence that the committee can do that and give them a time frame that within 48 hours or maximum 5 days, they will bring back that report.
Meanwhile, the Senate has also ordered its Committee on Marine Transport to investigate the Nigeria Port Authority over the sum of 177 billion naira operational surplus still unaccounted for, following a motion by Senator Mohammed Azan. The motion thereby elicited reactions from Senators Bala Ibn Ala, as well as the Senate President, Bukola Saraki, who mandated the affected committee to look into the matter.
Of 303 billion naira, there was 177 billion naira operating surplus that was recorded by Nigeria Ports Authority.
Derived income that can form the basis of what Mr. Hassan is referring to as actual income. So I think that let us not be in a haste to determine this matter based on the figures bandied by my brother and friend.
Section 82 of the Constitution allows agencies and government to spend money based on in line with the previous budget. Maybe that is what it's referring to. There is no expenditure. We are going for oversight on the 3rd. The timetable has been issued. Maybe the member has not, is not aware.
As you say, Chairman has already planned for the committee to sit. Let the committee look into the issues raised by Senator Mohammed Hassan, especially as regards whether there is or isn't any operating surplus. If there is an operating surplus, why has now operating surplus been sent to the consolidated revenue? I think, and then let the committee give us a report back within the next 3 days.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Senate has confirmed the appointment of Olanipekun Olukayode as Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. This confirmation during Wednesday's plenary was sequel to the presentation of the report of the Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes headed by Senator Chukwuka Utazi, Enugu North, for the consideration and confirmation of Olukayode as EFCC scribe. Meanwhile, the confirmation was not without a mild drama, as two members of the committee accused the chairman, Chukwuka Utazi, of running a one-man parade.
Mr. President, my distinguished colleagues, if you are telling me that I am a member of this committee, Senator Dino Melai is a member of this committee, Senator Matthew Monsurat, Senator Mustafa, all of us were waiting, and there is a waiting to be called to deliberate on this report.
This is a resolution of the Senate yesterday, and if we are lawmakers, we cannot be lawbreakers. The committee must meet as agreed yesterday. Then we can now make our report to the Senate.
In his defense, Utazi explained that Dino Melai in particular was not present when the committee reconvened Tuesday to sort out the grey areas on the report. Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and Senate Leader Ahmed Lawan insisted that the committee's report be considered in adherence with the procedures of the Senate standard rules and avoid whipping up sentiments unduly.
You out of courtesy, because there was no reason even to do anything otherwise. But out of courtesy, you ask that we extend the information to our colleagues.
It's at that point, if there's any problem with the processes, that it comes up. But once it is laid, it becomes the property of the Senate. So I think at this
Efforts by the two lawmakers to stop the Senate from proceeding on committee of the whole to consider the committee's report proved abortive, as lawmakers confirmed Olukayode's appointment.
On the screening of Mr. President's nominee for appointment as Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, I approved as the nomination of Olanipekun Olukayode Esquire as Secretary of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole?
Now, the last has not been heard of the gale of defection sweeping through the National Assembly as Senator Joshua Lidani, representing Gombe South, in the upper chamber, defected from the opposition People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress, APC. Galaxy's Godfrey Shemege reports that this latest in the series of mass movement of the lawmakers was announced during plenary Wednesday.
Senator Joshua Lidani, representing Gombe South, is defecting from the People's Democratic Party, PDP, to the All Progressives Congress. Congratulations, congratulations, and more congratulations. Mao, please, allow him.
It's recalled that there have been movement of the lawmakers from one party to another in both chambers of the National Assembly in recent months. This is as preparations for next year's general elections gather pace. In another development, the Nigerian Senate has mandated its Committee on Police Affairs to investigate within 48 hours the ongoing political impasse playing out at the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. This resolution by the Senate Wednesday follows a motion by Akwa Ibom Senator Basi Akpan, who gave an update on the political crisis after an alleged impeachment attempt on the state governor. In what seemed a counterpoint of order, Senator Barau Jibrin says the Red Chamber is according too much attention to the Akwa Ibom issue at the expense of other legislative business.
This operation, and I must also state here, Mr. President, that upon hearing this issue and the incident in the House of Assembly, because based on the standing order of the Assembly, the rule book of the Assembly was expected to sit at the hour of 10 a.m.
Mr. President, I want to say we are all believers on true federalism. In fact, the PDP is strengthening its resolve to bring about restructuring which will enhance true federalism in this country.
It took time to listen to you. I think that the most important aspect for all of us is for us to defend this democracy, irrespective of which state that's involved.
In continuation of the motion, Senator Akpan therefore calls for the removal of the police commissioner in Akwa Ibom, whom he describes as a mastermind in the alleged impeachment move.
I have with me here pictures of the thugs that were arrested and were ordered released by the Commissioner of Police. I'm also going to lay, Mr. President. And just yesterday, Mr. President, the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly moved a motion with a general consensus that the Commissioner of Police must vacate Akwa Ibom in 24 hours.
The Senate President thereby mandated the Committee on Police Affairs to get to the root of the matter and report within 48 hours. Still ahead, women demand end to Akwa Ibom Assembly crisis. Details of this and other stories when Galaxy News returns. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching Galaxy TV News. For more updates and latest news, visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow or interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV, or tweet at us at Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Still on the news, thousands of Akwa Ibom women stormed the State House of Assembly to protest the recent siege on the complex by the police. Dressed in black, the women, who were led by the Akwa Ibom State Commissioner for Women Affairs, assembled at the entrance to the House of Assembly complex, armed with fresh leaves and placards bearing various inscriptions, accusing the police of complicity and calling for the removal of the Commissioner of Police.
State for the past few months, and as women, as mothers, we came to tell the world enough is enough. Yesterday something happened. The Commissioner of Police led other security agencies, the policemen, and also to come to House of Assembly, Akwa Ibom State, to encourage people to take laws into their hands.
Also, some of the protesters expressed displeasure over recent crisis in the State House of Assembly and has created tension and called for concerned authorities to restore peace in the state.
Akwa Ibom State has stood out as a model of peace, and few moments ago, for example, yesterday, what happened in Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly is not what we should take lying low.
A jet person like me, I don't want to lose my children. I don't want to lose my grandchildren because they are all grown up. We need peace in Akwa Ibom. PDP has reigned in Akwa Ibom for years, and there is no havoc, no problem. We are surprised to hear that people from nowhere penetrate into the House of Assembly to cause problems.
Addressing the demonstrators, the Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Onofiok Luke, called on police officers to express their grievances without any fear or favor in line with the laws of the land. And now to our next story. The House of Representatives has resolved to organize a one-week education summit in January to address decay in the education sector. The House also resolved that, subject to the availability of funds, the education budget should be increased from 7% to 26% in line with UNESCO recommendation within the next 4 years. These resolutions were sequel to a motion titled "Need to Reform Nigeria's Tertiary Educational System," sponsored by Ayodele Oladimeji Ekiti during plenary. The lawmaker declared that Nigeria loses a minimum of 1 trillion naira to education tourism annually, noting that about 75,000 Nigerians are currently studying in Ghana, Benin Republic, Egypt, amongst others.
Must say their commitment to reviving the sector. It further ordered them to allocate a minimum of 50% of their budget to education in order to revolutionize the sector, as well as constitute special task force to manage the funds and oversee the infrastructural overhaul.
Contributing to the motion, lawmakers reiterated that poor infrastructure affects students' learning and said it is the time for the country to consider education as a privilege and not a right.
Research wants to accommodate students, but let me tell you, the teachers are not being paid. School buildings don't make school. Students and the teachers make schools. Today, we need to address the problems of education from the primary and secondary school.
How many of us from Mr. President go and check his children? The ministers he appointed. We here, members of National Assembly, including Mr. Speaker, Senate President, senators, and members of House of Representatives,
looking for school fees. A common man cannot afford to pay this money. And they are increasing, and we are budgeting money. We are paying, the government are paying them. So seriously, this thing I am calling to the president to make sure, as we promise free education, even we cannot give free education to the tertiary student, we have to give them 50% discount.
In his ruling, Speaker Yakubu Dogara revealed that an 11-man ad hoc committee will be constituted to liaise with critical stakeholders in the education sector to prefer solutions to the dwindling standard of education in the country. In another story, the House of Representatives has urged the Federal Ministry of Environment and the Hydrocarbon Pollution Remediation Project, HYPREP, to carry out a comprehensive cleanup of the entire impacted Ogoni area and its environs. To this end, the House has mandated its Committee on Environment and Habitat to ensure compliance and report back within 4 weeks for further legislative action. This followed the adoption of a motion moved by Abiante Inobiankawaji on the need to include Ataba and other Odoni communities in the United Nations Environmental Programme during plenary in Abuja.
The government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in consultation with many relevant actors, did invite the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, to undertake an assessment of the extent and impact of oil pollution in the areas of Ogoni and environs.
Still on the news. The National Peace Committee has appealed to political parties to cooperate with the Independent National Electoral Commission to ensure smooth conduct of the 2019 general election. Chairman of the committee and former head of state, General Abdulsalami Abubakar, made the advocacy while receiving brief on INEC's preparedness on the 2019 election held in Abuja Wednesday. General Abubakar said political parties must avoid confusion with the submission and substitution of a candidate in order not to cause delay in the electoral process or drag INEC into avoidable controversies.
Free and fair election. We have taken note. There are such flush areas in the states.
Having heard the commission, the Peace Committee agreed to intervene to broker peace among warring factions in the flashpoint states across the country. Meanwhile, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu says the commission is ready to make more briefings to attract needed support to the commission.
Reenactment, you are saying. I would just say all of us are worried about the security situation in the Northeast. And it is necessary that we try to contain the violence there in order for the INEC to go there and conduct election.
Everything that we have been doing to ensure free and fair elections, including the registration of voters, making the PVCs available for collection well ahead of the elections, and some of the issues and challenges that we are facing, for which we have sought for the support of the National Peace Committee.
Still on party politics. The People's Democratic Party in Benue State has emphasized the need for members and stakeholders of the party to work assiduously and make their contribution towards ensuring they win the 2019 general election. Governor Samuel Ortom made this known at an enlarged stakeholders meeting of the party in Makurdi, the state capital, where chieftains and all aspirants contesting for various positions were in attendance.
Is expected to make sacrifice to put something on the table that will add value. Because at the end, it's not just about the campaign teams or campaign council or whatever we have, whatever name we call ourselves. At the end is whether we win this election or not.
The chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Benue State, John Ngbede, called on all appointees of government to avail them with names of the various polling units in their county wards to enable the party work out modalities towards the campaign and election, just as the immediate past governor in the state, Gabriel Suswan, explained on the modalities.
All appointees of government should submit the names of their polling units to the party secretariat. You want to have the name of the polling unit. All appointees, right from the commissioner down to the governor.
I'm not going to have a different coordination from the governor, from the presidential candidate, from the House of Assembly, from the House of Reps. So the campaign is centered around two basic areas, local government and wards.
In the meantime, the presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, Obi Ezekwesili, has described both the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party as responsible for the huge number of poor people in the country. The ACPN candidate stated this while presenting a manifesto in Ilori and also the presentation of the national chairman of the party as a running mate. She added that a manifesto titled Rescue Nigeria will remove 80 million Nigerians out of the poverty line.
The cornerstone of our own government will be to lift 80 million Nigerians out of poverty. If you know that that is a good plan, let me hear you say yes. Yes. So our manifesto, which will be available from today, is a manifesto that spells out the way that we are going to govern Nigeria.
More stories coming up after this break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you just joined us, this is Galaxy TV News. Straight to health matters. Worried by acute shortage of brain drain in Nigeria, psychiatrists in Nigeria are calling for better incentives in order not to lose them to the developed countries. This is just as the psychiatrists are lamenting the increasing rate of mental health illnesses. These issues were brought to the fore at the 49th Annual General Meeting and Scientific Meeting of the Association of Psychiatrists in Nigeria. Justin Nakadoye brings us the details.
Today, mental health services in Nigeria are hardly accessible outside state capitals, with a ratio of 1 psychiatrist to 3.3 million persons. More so, qualified psychiatrists remain unemployed, while quite a proportion are leaving the country. Guest lecturer at the meeting, Professor Akin Oshibogun, and the local organizing committee chairman, Dr. Raphael Obolu, gave more perspective.
We need to provide incentives for them to train in psychiatry, and then we need to provide incentive to retain them in psychiatry, because the acute shortage of psychiatrists is global. There's a shortage in the United Kingdom, there's a shortage in the United States. And these other countries are paying better.
Quackery will thrive. Because when you now don't have the qualified personnel to treat the mental disorders in society, what happens? You create a vacuum. And people, nature abhors a vacuum. People will fill in that vacuum. So you have all sorts of people claiming or offering some form of mental health service, and that's dangerous.
For the Lagos state government, it is concerned about the number of suicide attempts recorded in recent times, promising that the mental health law in the state will take care of some of these issues.
Part of that strategy, of course, has also required us to establish the availability of mental health service at the secondary care centers. This, of course, has been strategized into districts based on the availability of the specialists that we have at the moment. But we know that this is just a first step. Supply side is important. Creating demand is also important.
Other professionals speak to newsmen on the dangers of substance abuse, the need to pass the mental health bill into law, managing technology to avert stress, and general issues facing the advancement of psychiatry in Nigeria.
We have to be proactive. How do we identify people who are stressed? How do we start saying at every point of contact, even those doctors who are not psychiatrists, they have a sort of checklist. If you see, that you sort of ask questions, you tick it off. These are potential people we need to counsel. We don't need to wait till they can no longer cope.
It's a bill that protects the rights of the mentally ill, protects the caregiver, establishes the nature of treatment you can offer to the mentally ill, and also define who is responsible for funding, for treatment, for all the intervention you need for mental health care in Nigeria.
These experts say untreated or poorly treated disorders may have an effect on the suicide rates in the country. However, it is hoped that early career support and guidance and encouragement of mentorship can help ameliorate the challenge of brain drain. Justin Akadonye, Galaxy News, Lagos.
In the meantime, to improve the outcome of children with asthma in Nigeria and Africa in general, the Lagos State University College of Medicine has launched the Achieving Asthma Control in African Children Acacia study. The Acacia is an international study taking place in 6 other countries, including Nigeria, and funded by the National Institute of the Health Insurance Grant. Consultant respiratory physician LASICOM, Dr. Lufunke Adeyeye, says the study will help detect asthma in school children between 12 and 6 years, adding that schools need to be equipped to support asthmatic children. The 3-year study will entail collection of data with a view to identifying the problems to ascertain reasons why control is not being achieved.
And then while we're doing this study too, we will be finding out how well these children are controlled. That's how well they are made to feel fine all the time. And they want to know what they're using. We're going to be checking them to know how well they are faring in the asthma control, and then find out whether they are not even diagnosed at all, or they are not even taking any medication. If they are taking medications, what medication are they taking? And then we're likely looking at why are they having problems with their control? Why? So we're looking at things in the schools, things in the home, things in the environment. So those are the things we're going to be doing.
Other speakers at the event say with proper diagnosis and awareness, children with asthma can live a well-fulfilled life. They were also quick to advise asthmatic patients not to feel stigmatized, but open up to professionals.
This one now is medical intervention of an area of, ailment that needs to be, researched into. What is the cause of asthma? Are people aware of this ailment? When they have it, how can it be managed? Those who have it, how should people be reacting or responding to them? How should they, even the carrier of the ailment?
There has to be a lot of education on this research because everything is all about awareness. What you don't know, if you lack knowledge, it's difficult to intervene. So I really want to enjoin the researchers to go out and educate our children, educate parents all over Nigeria, not just in Lagos, where this research is based, about what are the causes of asthma, what can trigger asthma, how can it be controlled, what is the role of the parents in controlling the disease.
It is better to come out. There is no stigma in this form. It is better to open up to the professionals so that they can get the needed help on time. Sure, you understand? Because when they get to know it and doing the right thing at the right time, we really help the students. We really help either the students or the children.
Away from all that, let's join Rose Blossom for the business news.
In the business scene, Nigerian foreign reserve is bouncing back after declining by $2.1 billion in 30 days. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria shows that the nation's reserves surged by over $230 million between November 23rd and 26, 2018. As at November 26, the reserve stood at $41,829,552,421, its highest level since November 2, 2018. To keep the naira stable, Godwin Emefiele, governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, had said the bank under his leadership will keep defending the naira against external pressure. The defense of the naira caused the nation's foreign reserve to record the biggest monthly drop since 2015. In what seemed like the latest recovery, the reserve moved from $41,522,000,000 $249,351 on Thursday to $41,829,552,421 on Monday. The Naira has remained relatively stable at the official interbank market, trading between 360 and 364 to the greenback, as the CBN continues to intervene to support the local currency. Still on the business scene, President Vladimir Putin on Wednesday said Russia had no choice but to cut its dependency on dollars to conduct trade after becoming the target of increasingly severe U.S. sanctions. Worries about the ability to use the dollar will push other countries to seek alternatives. Russian authorities have long talked about the de-dollarization of its international trade. However, progress on that front has been slow. Oil, Russia's major export, is priced in dollars. Nevertheless, much of Russia's trade with its ex-Soviet neighbors are in rubles, and Putin noted the country recently sold its $400 surface-to-air missiles batteries to Turkey without dollars featuring in transactions. Deputy Prime Minister Yuri Borisov recently said India will pay for 400 in rubles. Russia and China have also indicated they want to increase the use of the ruble and yuan in their bilateral trade. Russia has been hit by several rounds of sanctions by Washington and the European Union since Moscow intervention in Ukraine in 2014. And finally, on the business scene, the Minister of Petroleum, Industry and Mineral Resources of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Khalid Al-Falih, Wednesday today held talks with the federal government of Nigeria as part of effort to bring about a stabilization in the crude oil price and in the international crude oil market. Speaking during the visit to the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kachuku in Abuja, Al-Falih said Saudi Arabia was in consultation with Nigeria and the host of other countries to address the volatility in the global crude oil market. This was even as Kachuku disclosed that the federal government was seeking ways to collaborate with Saudi Arabia to revamp Nigeria's refineries and also reconstruct the downstream sector of the Nigerian petroleum industry.
Over now to Onyechi Ogu for news making rounds in the sporting arena.
In the world of sport, head coach of the Super Falcons of Nigeria, Thomas Denaby, has revealed that after accomplishing their first target of a ticket to the FIFA World Cup, Nigeria's next target is to retain the Women's AFCON title by beating South Africa in Accra on Saturday. The Swedish tactician was on his feet for most of the time in the semi-final against the indomitable Lioness of Cameroon in Accra on Tuesday, which exhausted the statutory regulation and extra time and then went into penalty shootout before the cup holders inched past their bitter rivals into the final and a place in France. The Super Falcons will take on the Banyana Banyana of South Africa in the final of the 11th Women African Cup of Nations at Accra Sports Stadium on Saturday.
But of course, now it's time for rest, 2 days or 3 days. It's good to have one extra day now before the final, because it was a really tough game today, and there are a lot of players that are really tired. And as you can see, there were 3 or 4 of them that have cramp in the extra time and so on. So now it's really time for recover. But we have good options to beat anyone.
Moving on, head coach of the South African women's team, Desiree Elise, says the Banyana Banyana will be aiming to win the AFCON 2018 tournament when they face reigning champions, the Super Falcons of Nigeria, on Saturday's final. Christiana Katlana and Lebohang Gramalipe scored in each half as Banyana Banyana beat Mali 2-0 on Tuesday's semi-final match to set up an AFCON final date with external rival Super Falcons Nigeria on Saturday in Accra. The Banyana Banyana earlier defeated the Super Falcons in the opening Group B game at the tournament. This is the 4th time South Africa reached the final of the African's flagship women's football competition, and Desiree Elise and her charges are seeking to make a history by winning the AFCON 2018 title after suffering defeat in 3 previous finals to Nigeria in 2000, before suffering defeat to Equatorial Guinea in 2008 and 4 years later. And now to international football. Victor Moses is not in contention to make his 7th appearance of the season in all competition for Chelsea when they host Chuba Akpom's PAOK in the UEFA Europa League on Thursday. Providing an injury update at the press conference, manager Mauricio Sarri revealed that the former Nigerian international will play no part in their game against the Greek Super League side due to a back problem. With Eden Hazard also ruled out of the game, England under-17 World Cup winning winger Callum Hudson-Odoi is set to be included in the matchday squad. Moses has not started a competitive game for Chelsea since September 26, when he went undistant against Liverpool in the League Cup. And finally in sport, Lennox Lewis has told reporters he cannot call the winner of Deontay Wilder vs Tyson Fury, describing the weekend's heavyweight showdown in LA as a great matchup. The legendary former 3-time world heavyweight champion said Fury has the superior boxing skills, but Wilder has the power to deliver a knockout blow at any time. Tyson Fury has been hard at work and training in America for the past 2 months. Fury stunned the boxing world when he beat Vladimir Klitschko in November 2015 to claim the WBA, WBO, IBF and the IBO titles. But toppling the unbeaten American would arguably be an even greater achievement by the Briton, considering he's only made his return to the sport earlier this year after a 2.5-year absence went into a well-documented depression, drink and drug issues.
It's what the people want versus what the people will get.
News from the international scene is up next.
On the international scene, Russian President Vladimir Putin has accused Ukraine's leader Petro Poroshenko of trying to boost his ratings ahead of 2019 elections with a naval confrontation off Crimea. Russian FSB border guards opened fire on 2 Ukrainian gunboats and a tug before seizing the Ukrainian crews. Mr. Putin told an investment forum on Wednesday that Poroshenko had to do something to make the situation more intense. Mr. Poroshenko has declared martial law for 30 days in response to the crisis. The decision, backed by parliament, affects 10 Ukrainian border regions, and the Ukrainian leader made clear in a TV interview that the country was under threat of full-scale war with Russia. The peninsula was seized from Ukraine in 2014 and annexed by Russia shortly afterwards. The 3 boats were sailing from Odessa to Mariupol, a major Ukrainian port of the Azov Sea, when they were confronted by 4 FSB vessels. Both countries agreed to share the sea in a 2003 treaty, but Russia's decision to open a bridge across the Kerch Strait this year exacerbated tensions. Ukraine says Russia is deliberately blockading Mariupol and another port, preventing ships from getting through the Kerch Strait. Official figures say the UK economy could be up to 3.9% smaller after 15 years under Theresa May's Brexit plan, compared with staying in the EU. But a no-deal Brexit could deliver a 9.3 hit, the new estimates say. The Prime Minister said her deal was the best deal available for jobs and the economy. Speaking at Prime Minister's questions, Mrs. May said, quote, "Our deal is the best deal available for jobs and our economy that allows us to honor the referendum and realize the opportunities of Brexit." End of quote. The government's Brexit deal faces a potentially difficult vote in the House of Commons on 11 December. Before that vote, the Prime Minister is touring the country to promote the deal and will be in Scotland later on Wednesday. Elsewhere, Indonesian investigators have said the Lion Air plane that crashed last month, killing 189 people, was not airworthy and should have been grounded. The Boeing 737 MAX plane crashed into the Java Sea shortly after departing from Jakarta on 29 October. A preliminary report has found technical problems had been reported in previous flights. The 737 MAX is a new version of Boeing's original 737 and has become its fastest-selling plane. The preliminary report details what is known by authorities about the short time the plane was in the air, but investigators said it did not give a definitive cause for the accident. In Australia, Sydney has been deluged by the heaviest November rain it has experienced in decades, causing flash flooding, traffic chaos and power cuts. Heavy rain fell throughout Wednesday, the city at one point receiving its average monthly rainfall in 2 hours. Officials said dozens of vehicles crashed in the stormy conditions, with winds of up to 55 miles per hour also recorded. At least 2 deaths have been blamed on the storm. A 14-year-old boy died in a car crash in Thornley in the north of Sydney on Wednesday morning. A volunteer with the State Emergency Service also died while out on duty, and 2 police officers were injured after being hit by a fallen tree while trying to help Sydney motorists, authorities said.
And to wrap up this bulletin, we bring to you news from the world of entertainment.
Highlights on AFRIMA 2018. The All-African Music Awards AFRIMA 2018 held in the ancient city of Accra, Ghana. The prestigious award ceremony, which is geared towards celebrating African artists all over the continent, had adequate representation from the 52 countries of Africa. The ceremony featured an African Music Business Summit themed African Music in a Global Village, leveraging the opportunities. South African music legend Yvonne Chaka Chaka handled the first segment of the summit. She, however, implores all music artists to never get on stage drunk.
This is our Africa. Let's shape it. Let's shape the Africa that we want. Let's start doing things the right way. Our music has been taken overseas and brought back to us, and we buy it with more money. We've seen artists today earning very, very little. And to promote us in Africa, can I please say something? Do not negotiate with our artists. When an artist wants $20,000, please pay them what they are worth.
Day 3 of AFRIMA 2018 featured AFRIMA Music Village with the best of African artists like Sarkodie, Nasty C, Harry Song, Mr. Rio, Stonebwoy, lighting up the stage with energetic performances. Day 4 had all AFRIMA 2018 nominees gathered together for a nominees party. The party had in attendance Nigerian celebrities like Tubaba, Sound Sultan, Kunle Afolayan, amongst many others. Everyone present at the party laid down their worries and rocked the dance floor and enjoyed the party. And finally was the award ceremony with all glitz and glamour on the red carpet. The red carpet got lit with exceptional appearances from Victoria Kimani, Vanessa MD, Omotola Jalade Kende, Sound Sultan, and countless African artists, alongside other Africans present to celebrate with the nominees. The award ceremony hosted by African-American comedian Michael Blackson, alongside South African actress P.L. Tusi, and Ghanaian media personality Anita Erkson, was opened with an eclectic performance from Legbegbe crooner Mr. Real, who was also a nominee. Davido and Tiwa Savage bagged the award for Best Male and Female West African Artist, respectively. They were, however, not available in person to receive the award. Other winners were Falz the Bad Guy, Tufan, Tubaba, Praise, Stonebwoy, Shakina, Fally Ipupa, and more. Congratulations to the winners and nominees of AFRIMA 2018. Ghana, thank you for hosting us.
And that's Galaxy TV News at this time. I am Rita Omodia. Many thanks for staying with us.